Hello, Lacey students. So today we're going to look at polynomial functions, section factoring using grouping. So this is section 7.5 pretty much. Some needs you're going to want: notes, calculator, and then a pen or a pencil. So factoring using grouping. Every single problem that we're actually going to use today is going to have 4 terms. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So now, how we're actually going to do this? We're actually going to basically, in a way, we're going to go opposite of how we multiplied. So we're going to draw ourselves our square box, like that. And then I'm going to put the terms in each box. So 3n cubed is going to go in the first box. Negative 12n squared is going to go in that box. 2n is going to go there, and negative 8 is going to go there. With me so far? So I put every term in its own box. So now what I need to do is I need to get stuff around the edges. So I'm going to fill in the stuff around the edges here. So theoretically, it's technically, what did I multiply together to get 3n cubed? Now you're saying, well, there could be several things. So what you can do is you're going to figure out the GCF of these two terms. So what is the greatest number I can take out of these two terms? A 3, right? So I'm going to take a 3 out, and then the lowest number of n's is n squared. So I'm going to take out n squared. Now it becomes pretty easy. 3n squared times what would give me 3n cubed? Well, I know I have the 3 already, so I need one more n, right? So I'm going to have an n there. N times what will give me 2n? 2, right? And then 2 times what will give me negative 8? Negative 4. Notice how I once I broke this out, I used the rest of my terms to figure out what the rest of the outside is. So now I'm going to rewrite my outside. So I'm going to write the top first, n minus 4, parentheses, 3n squared plus 2. That is my final answer. After I rewrite and figure out my outsides, I need to write them in parentheses. So let's try this again. First things first, you're going to make yourself your box. Write your 4 terms around on the inside. So 8t cubed, 14t squared, 20t, 35. Put my little curves on my t's. So now I need to figure out what's the GCF of 8t cubed, 14t squared. This one's kind of a little difficult. A 4 can't come out of both of them, but a 2 can, so I know it's going to be a 2 somehow. And it looks like it's t squared, right? That's the most t's I can take out. 2 times 4 will give me 8. I need one more t, it looks like, so it's going to be 4t up here. 2 times what will give me 14? 7, right? So then the t squared is just already taken care of from over here. So 2t squared times 7 is 14t squared. 4t times what gives me 20t? 5, right? 5 times 7, that gives me 35. So that checks out. So I can rewrite my outsides here. There we go. 4t plus 7 times 2t squared plus 5. Now, here is something I just want to warn you against. Notice how every single one of these have a q in it. And they're all even numbers. Before you start any problem, you want to see, is there a greatest common factor you can pull out? Otherwise, you're going to have to do it at the end. So I would take a look before you start every problem. Make sure there's not a GCF hiding. So very first thing I noticed is I could take a number out of every single one of these. So I can take a 4 out, right? 4 divided by 4 is 1, negative 2, 3, and negative 6. And it looks like I can take a q, because that's the lowest number of q's each guy has. So what am I going to have left in parentheses? So I'm going to take a 4q, I'm going to have q to the third, right, left over, minus 2q to the second, plus 3q, minus 6, right? So now I have factored out the greatest common factor. This particular thing right here, I'm going to underline it for you. This goes in the box now. So I got q to the third minus 2q to the second, 3q, and negative 6. Alright, so q to the third, and no numbers, right? Because this one has a 1. But I can take a q to the second out. Got one more q laying up there. Q times what will give me 3q. It's a 3, right? 3 times something gives me negative 6. That's negative 2. Negative 2 times q squared, that is negative 2 squared. So, I have q minus 2, q squared plus 3. But don't forget this guy right here, what you pulled out originally. So he's going to sit in the front. This big 4-termed polynomial became the green down here. So I need to make sure he gets written in the front. Let's try this last problem here. So I need to first see, is there a GCF? It does look like it, doesn't it? I think all of them have a 3 that can come out, and then they all have an h as well. So let's take an h as well. So we're going to have 2h to the third plus 3h to the second plus 4h plus 6. So now I need to plug this into the box to get that to factor down. So I got 2h to the third, 3h squared, 4h, and 6. So it looks like 2 and 3 don't share a common number. So it's going to be h squared going this way. H squared times 2h will give me 2h cubed, right? 2h times 2 will give me 4h. And then 2 times 3 will give me 6. Rewrite my GCF in the front. And then I'm going to write my outsides. 2h plus 3, h squared plus 2. So, here are some formal directions. Check for a greatest common factor, and that's always when you factor. Always check for greatest common factor, no matter what. Then, the polynomial will always have 4 terms to be able to do factoring by grouping. So you're always going to want to see, do you have 4 terms? If you have 4 terms, you know you can factor by grouping. Alright? That's how you should know that you can use the box. A lot of people just call this the box method. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.